She took care of me when I was younger, but there will be a point where people stop going to pay their respects. That will happen eventually as time moves forward, right? Um, who are the people that legacy lives on? Well, those are the people that financially, I mean, it typically comes down to finances, have put a stake in the ground and said, hey, for my family from here on out, this is where it started. This is where our legacy started financially, right? You
Right.
look at the Carnegies and you look at, I mean, if you go back in history, when you look at finance is really a stake in the ground and say, hey, our legacy, our family name started here,
Right.
right? And so it came down to a saying that we had said a few months ago that said, I don't want to die and be forgotten, right? Like
Right.
I think that's a fear in the back of everybody's mind. We're going to die. We're all going
Right.
to die. But just to go off and never be remembered again, like that's not where I want to be. You know, I want somebody to say, hey, oh, great grandpappy Johnny, right? He,
Right.
he started us on this journey. And that's
Right.
why the Velazquez name lives on. You know what I mean? Like that's a story that will live on for generations, right? So, but that all starts with somebody putting a stake in the ground and saying, hey, I got to build something here and now.
Right. I've tried to explain that same idea, that analogy to people that, I hear it a lot from people in my life, where they're like, with all this money, don't you want to leave it to your kids? Depending on how they turn out, right? If I have kids, depending on how they turn out, I get that mentality from Kirby, but he's all right. He's right on it. I mean, hey, depends. I don't want, I don't want,
I ain't giving these savages nothing.
if I create all these, if I create multiple businesses and investments, assets, if I build an empire, why am I going to why am I going to let it be destroyed by my own family? I'd rather pass
Right.
that empire on to a colleague or a partner that helped me build this empire, so that, if their family's going to take care of his or people he knows, I'd rather put it over here so that it can keep growing and the name can live on. I mean, we've talked on, Hershey's, that name lives on, or like you said, the
Right.
Carnegie or the Rockefellers, or, whoever that is in the elite class of the world, their name lives on because way back then their family decided to manage their money and grow their wealth and manage their wealth and teach their family how to keep that name alive and manage those assets. Most families, they're just looking forward to a will. Their grandfather makes $5 million and then leaves a will, and then all that 5 million gets blown, and then the family's broke from then on forward.
Alex, it's funny that you brought up the name Hershey, because you want to know the funny part about that?
What's that?
The Hershey's never had kids.
Wow. I had
But
no idea.
they actually run an orphanage, I believe. Don't they run an orphanage?
Right. They never had any kids. They never. So they set up all these organizations and things like that. It's because they never had kids. Yeah.
Alex, you're a little younger than we are, than I am anyway. But have you ever seen the movie Brewster's Millions?
No.
Okay, when you get a chance, watch that. And so there's a movie about a guy who dies, and he leaves his Richard Pryor is the heir, but he tells
Right.
Richard Pryor that, hey, in order for you to win the big estate, right, which is millions of dollars, you have to spend $1 million a day, but you can't tell people why you're spending it. You can't give it away. You can't. I mean, there's certain stipulations, and so, but when at the end of the 30 days, you can only have the clothes on your back that you came in here with, and so he has to spend $1 million a day. It's a pretty good movie. And it teaches
It's
some
a
good
good
lessons.
movie.
It's a good one.
Okay.
Brewster's Millions. Write that down. And you
Okay.
can thank me later.
I'm gonna make a
Yeah,
note.
and for me, the ideal of kids and like V, you talked about earlier how when we were discussing the class, how much stuff around your house do you buy for other people or do you buy for yourself? Like in my house, and y'all been to my house. Only thing I got my when you want to see as bad as you want to breathe up. I do that for me. I don't do that for nobody else. I got my Lions thing up. You know that's for me because ain't nobody else rooting for the Lions, right? And then I just have I have a picture of me and my wife, and everybody thinks that it's a wedding picture because you know we dress looking like we got money up the hilt. But only thing that picture is, and everybody think, oh, that's a great wedding picture. The truth is, that was probably the day we was the brokest in our life as being married.
Dang.
But nobody can ever know. That's the only picture I have hanging up because that's the only picture that matters to me. I walk past that picture every day to remind myself you can always go back to being that guy. And so everything else in my house is functional. You can anybody can come in and use it, but those things that's around my house, my Detroit Lions flag, Super Bowl, baby. I don't know a year. I ain't like the Cowboys fan. I don't know a year, but Super Bowl.
2022. No, I got it. I got it.
Yeah, and then but that's the only thing. And everybody when they see it, they be like, "Oh, that's a great wedding picture." And I just look at them like, I mean, literally, I'm not saying, oh, maybe the brokest time. That was literally the brokest time ever, ever. If you like, even if you look close at the picture, I'm half shaved. I ain't even have enough to get no Mach 3s to actually put a clean shave to my face. But I know that, like the watch I got on, it looked like it's expensive, but it was like a $5 discount watch from Burton Coat Factory. I mean, my wedding ring that was expensive because my wife bought it before we got married. She guess she thought we was gonna have some money, but that was the only thing. That was it. I mean, the suit I had on it was a discount on top of a discount on top of a discount from Burton Coat Factory. The tie, if it blew in the wind too bad, it would have flew off my neck. It wasn't a clip on, but it was like thin, like tissue paper.
Right.
That was the brokest time ever, and everybody think that was like, oh man, y'all look so great. That's when y'all start rolling the dough. No, broke as hell. That was broke as hell. I never forget it. We was in downtown San Antonio.
I gotta tell you this, man. I had my first date with my wife, and she obviously wasn't my wife at the time, but she came to visit me down at Fort Lee, Virginia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had my apartment, paid for the apartment. Remember, I'm only trying to make it underneath what I make every month, right? So I'm at the end of the month, running low on funds, and she's like, I'm hungry. Like this is the first time she came to visit me. I'm hungry. So I'm thinking, let me where can I take her where we can eat? It's gonna be cheap. CC's Pizza, right? So we go to CC's Pizza. Now, if Alex, you ever been to CC's Pizza?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically an all-you-can-eat buffet on pizza,
Right.
pasta, and whatever, right? And I knew that I had enough in my account to pay for both of us. I just knew that couldn't get drinks, right? Like it had to get water, and I didn't tell her this, right? I didn't say this out loud because I was just gonna be like two, and then let me get two waters, right? And that was right? So I said two, and she's like, "Yeah, can I have a soda?" And I knew at that point this card is getting declined, right? Like I knew this, and so and she knows this now, and we talked about it. But man, as soon as she says soda, I knew that thing was getting declined. And so she got it, and I didn't bat an eye, I didn't make a look. I handed my card over to the guy. Guy swiped the card. He goes, "I'm sorry, sir, this was declined." I'm like, "What? I know I got money on there, man. Let me call my man. Let's go. Let's get out of here." But I mean, there are some times that will really test your resolve, right? Like that will really start making you think, I gotta do something different. I have to do something. I can't go around just swiping my card and then make it pretend like, all right, I don't have enough on this card.
Kirby,
Right?
you guys saw it just like that.
Tell me about this one. This was right around the time of that picture. Six Flags. I don't think I've been to a theme park since then. Honestly, But so I'm at Six Flags. It's me and my wife. I had Ursa living there at the time. And then, you get into Six Flags, but they had this one ride. This is the San Antonio. They had this one ride where you had to pay to ride, where it's like this big slingshot. It pulls you up and then it swoosh you across the whole park. It's like $25 per person. So for all three of us, like $75. So we go on a ride. So I swipe the card, and then we go on a ride the first time. We go across. My wife, Ursa, they so excited. They was like, we got to do that again. I love the ride. I had to act like I hated the ride because I knew I couldn't afford another trip across that damn thing. So, and understand, I just told my wife about this 4 years ago. Now, this happened 10, 15 years ago. I just told her had enough gall to tell her now to be like, yeah, you remember that time we got on that ride? I was like, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford another flight. So I had to act. I mean, I literally damn near threw a tantrum so we wouldn't go back on that ride. It was because my car was going to be the kind. So, yeah, I understand. That's how bad it was. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty bad, man. So I understand.
There definitely comes a point where you got to make a decision. And, I'm either going to go through this again, right? Like, I'm either going to get to another position where I can't swipe this card, or I'm going to put some money aside and start figuring out how to make this money work for me. And until you make the decision on which way you want to go, you can go the other way. And I know plenty of people that go the other way. They're happy with just making ends meet. And if that's the way that you are wired, more power to you. Good luck, right? But if you want more, there are opportunities out there, but you have to be disciplined enough to stay the course, right? Like with case in point for this HELOC, it's gonna take me. I'm averaging $200 a week at a minimum, and I got to do that for 52 weeks times 4 years, right? That's 208 weeks, right? 200 week after week after week. But that's what I'm willing to do to make sure that my plan crosses the finish line. So you got to figure out, what are you willing to do, and how often and how disciplined are you willing to be at it? Because I could do it for 6 weeks. I've done it for 6 months now, and I can say I'm tired of it. But guess what? I still got to pay that money back, right? So you got to be disciplined in it, and you got to understand what you want, and you got to stick with your plan.
And I agree with you. People are wired certain ways, and I'm just gonna be 100% transparent. I'm okay with people being the way that they are. If, like, I mean, I know all three of us have done this, gave advice to family members, friends, or something like that, and they choose to be wired, live paycheck to paycheck. I have no problem with that if you want to be wired that way. But if you choose to be wired that way, don't have me in mind when the way that you're wired don't work out and you need a bailout fund. That's the problem that irks me, because the only reason why you're asking me is because, hey, you know that I'm doing something that I have extra money that I could lend out if I want to. But you choose not to do that because you want to live the way you want to live. So if you're going to live the way you want to live, that's fine. Just don't bring it back to me when your way is not working out. Because even if you bring it back to me, it's going to be, hey, I'll just use you. Hey, V, let me borrow $1,000. And then you may or may not give it to him, but I'm going to borrow $1,000. I may or may not pay you back, and I'm going to keep living the way that I'm wired. Now, I'm not going to come to you and say, all right, here's your $1,000, but hey, V, tell me what you're doing so I don't never have to come back to ask you for $1,000 again. That is the problem that I have with society as a general. And then that's how I get the title, like y'all call me crazy, but that's how I get is because when people know that they can call and ask me, it's because they know I'm doing something that they're not doing, but they should be doing, but they choose not to do it because they want to live their life. Right. But then I'm an asshole because I say no, because I'm doing the sacrificing, my family's doing the sacrificing to put us in position to have this extra money. But you don't want to sacrifice nothing, but think that you can come to me, but you won't do nothing that I'm doing to have extra money yourself, and they get mad because I won't finance the way that you're wired. That is the problem that I know Alex has that problem. V, you gonna have a problem in a minute. And family, I'm not talking bad about your family or friends or nothing like that. But when people start noticing that you have more, just have more, they're gonna figure, oh, let me call an action. Now, what you say, yay or nay, that's on you. But they're gonna call you. Like I tell people all the time, I wish somebody would call me and ask me for gas money. Just, hey, you got $20, $30 so I can get to the end of the week. Matter of fact, I got a call about 2 weeks ago. The guy hit me up, was like, hey man, can I just get $30 to the end of the week? I said, I don't even think he hit the send button hard enough before I already had a reply message. Hey, send me your cash app, send me whatever you need. Here go the money right now. Cause I don't get those calls. It's all right. Oh, well, yeah, I know Kirby's doing this, and no Kirby's doing that. Oh, ain't no way in hell I'm gonna do it. But if I ever need something, I'm just gonna call him. I'm getting calls 20, 30, 40, $60,000 at a time. What happened to gas money? You know what I mean? But they know I have it. They know I have it because of, the stuff that I tell people. But it's because of really the sacrifices that my family made. But they don't take that into account. They just, oh, he got it. He should just be willing to give it. Why? You ain't willing to save it. Why should I be willing to give it? But if you was willing to save it, you'll realize the sacrifice it takes for me and my family to get that way, then you wouldn't be asking. But they will never do it.
And I think that's why it's important, like what you guys are doing with this podcast and just giving out knowledge and tips and this and that. If people took those little tidbits in and started applying them, it'll start moving the wheel for them. But it takes everybody to take that knowledge and you have to apply it. It doesn't matter what you learn, right? You can learn a million different. I'm sure in from grade school all the way up through high school, you learned a million different things because they got a million different topics and this and that, and then you brain dumped it and didn't apply it. It doesn't do you any good unless you apply it. But if you apply it, especially with some of the things you guys have talked about through these podcasts, if you apply it, it'll get you to a few steps ahead of where you were the day before. And if you can continue moving forward day by day, again, the days seem long, but the years fly by. Before you know it, when you look back, you're gonna be at a place where you say, "Dang, all those little sacrifices were worth it."